Hey Cake Chums, and welcome back to another video. Now, as some of you may know, over the last few weeks and I guess even months now, I've been regularly demonstrating at various food festivals across the country. And in fact, over the next 4 weeks, I have a different food festival every single weekend. It's going to be a busy one. It occurred to me though that other than a couple of very quick snapshots and clips of what I've been up to, I haven't really shared what's been going on. So in this week's video, I thought I would take you guys with me behind the scenes and on the road of what exactly goes on when you appear at a food festival. Now, the work doesn't actually just begin at the show. There's a huge amount of prep that goes into it because usually the chefs or bakers or whoever that are demonstrating have to bring their ingredients with them, any specialist equipment they need, and of course, the all-important here's ones. Here's one I prepared earlier. Does that make sense? So last night I was up a little bit later than I intended, baking up examples of all of my bakes, but I will show you those when we get to the show, because now I need to finish packing, get everything loaded in the car, and let's hit the road. Oh, and I guess, let's get to the video. Okay, so as you can see, we are not at Foodies Festival right now. My plan was that I was going to film the first day of the festival so that I could then have Friday night and Saturday night to edit all the footage ready to go up on Sunday. And then it took me 4.5 hours to get to Bristol. The roads were an absolute nightmare, and I ended up being late, which wasn't ideal. So my demo yesterday now, on the Friday, was at 3 o'clock. I got to the show, or the festival, at 3:20 and ended up going on at past, so the quickest demonstration prep in the history of the world. But as you can probably imagine, I didn't really have time to sort out the filming stuff, cameras, etc. So, change of plans. We are going to go today, Saturday. I'll take you behind the scenes of the demonstration theatres. I'll show you what goes on back there. I'll even capture some of, if not all of, my demonstration as well, so you can see that too. Obviously, this means that the editing is going to have to be such a rush job tonight to make sure it's ready for tomorrow morning. But fingers crossed it will happen. Wish me luck. And next time you see me, I will be at the showground ready to show you a day in the life at a food festival. So, see you in a second. And is it by magic? Here we go. So it is currently 11:48 and my first demo isn't until 1:30, so I've got a bit of time to kill. So I'm gonna have a bit of a wander around the site and show you guys exactly what's going on and some of the stalls that are here, the music stage, the different theatres and so on. But we'll also go and have a little peek at what is already going on in the other theatres as well, because obviously it's not all about me. So let's head there next. So if it wasn't complicated enough to try and edit this video in my hotel room, I also thought I'd try and film some voiceover as well, or record some voiceover I should say. I don't know how well that will go, but we'll give it a try. Here I'm just walking around giving you some of the sights and smells of Foodies Festival Bristol, and then we made our way over to the cake and bake tent where you can see our stunning Progress Pride flag welcoming everyone to join us, and there is the gorgeous Charlotte White demonstrating how to make her raspberry breakfast muffins, I believe. She does multiple demonstrations throughout the day as well as comparing for the rest of us, so she really does work incredibly hard. Here's a little shot of the music stage. We have so many artists on all throughout the day, and I wish I'd got footage of more of them, but I'm obviously here to work, and I was working pretty much non-stop. We then headed over to the Chef's Theatre, where today we have a whole host of incredible chefs, lots of MasterChef finalists and champions in there if cooking and food is your thing. This is Jeremy. He is one of the other compères and is married to the organiser of the whole of Foodies. That's Sarah, one of their daughters, and she looks after us backstage in the Chef's Theatre. She's also very camera shy. And there are some of our chef demonstrators for the day all getting ready. There you just saw Mike Tompkins, who was a MasterChef finalist this year in 2021, and there's Philly and Tom, who were MasterChef The Professionals finalists in 2020 and MasterChef champion in 2021 respectively. As you can see, we all kind of do our own prep. There's nobody doing it all for us, although Sarah does a fantastic job of washing up after us, I have to say. And then here's just a quick flash of Mike's demonstration.
The tomato sauce for this is quite important. You want it to be packed full of flavour because you're going to be layering everything up. In Naples, when my girlfriend and I went, we basically had it every day. And you'd have all different styles of it, but mainly because their ingredients are so fresh, it's different to the UK. You would literally have tomatoes, mozzarella and aubergine, and it would all be grilled, and it was really lovely, but traditionally over here you'll probably have it more this style. So I'm going to use some chopped tomatoes rather than starter. I think it just gives it a nice pop that you've got bits and pieces of tomato in there. So if I was at home, I would probably not use tomato puree. I would just reduce this down nice and slow until you get a nice thick consistency. And that way you retain the most flavour. But because this is a demo, and because we don't have a couple of hours, I'm going to add some tomato puree. So this is triple concentrated, so it should speed up this process.
Right.
Apologies for all the background noise. Obviously we are at a festival and I did what I can to do some noise reduction, but unfortunately a little bit is unavoidable. This is the Cakes and Desserts Theatre again, and as you can see we're all mucking in to help Marianne get ready for her demonstration. She was making olive oil and avocado chocolate mousse, and here we are. I'm just applying the garnish for her while Charlotte finishes piping the here's ones I prepared earlier. Did we decide on what we were calling those in the end? We really are almost a bit of a family backstage in the Cakes and Desserts Theatre. It really is lovely. And then here's a little flash of Marianne's demonstration.
I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy working with the recipes, because I feel like a lot of the time if you've got an intolerance or if you've got a special diet, you have to like make do with something a bit rubbish.
Yes.
And I just think that's so sad. Like, I don't want that for people.
I think that's wonderful. The free from aisle used to be the saddest little place, didn't it? But now it's so much better. And you're going to make something really delicious. Tell us what you're making today.
Okay, so today, Charlotte, so vegan olive oil and avocado chocolate mousse.
Okay, so it's about half an hour before my demonstration now, and Marianne is still on stage at the moment. Hopefully you can hear me because obviously they've got their mics on and the speakers, but I've mic'd myself in the hope that it kind of cancels some of that out. Can't promise, but we'll see how it goes. One of the biggest parts of demoing at a festival like this is that you have to bring everything with you in terms of ingredients or any specialist equipment that you need. So in my massive bag for life here, I have essentially got everything that we need to make what I'm making today, which is my carrot and orange cupcakes. The recipe is on my website and I'll link it down in the video description. First job is going to be to weigh out all the ingredients. So we're going to start with flours, 2 types. Oh.
So while it's still running, like...
Now I thought it would be best to speed this footage up because there is quite a lot of it, but as you can see I'm essentially just weighing out all of my ingredients. If I'm only doing one day at a festival then I tend to bring them all already measured out, but because I'm here for the whole weekend and doing multiple demonstrations of different things across different stages or theatres, I have just brought kind of multiple ingredients with me. It's also quite handy because, you know, if somebody gets pinged by track and trace or something like that and they need someone to step in, I've got extras of everything with me. So that's kind of my rationale for bringing it all this time. Now I'm not sure how you guys would feel about this because I have got most of my actual demonstration recorded, so I figured I might as well put it in the video. You obviously don't have to watch the whole thing, please don't feel obligated to. But if you feel so inclined and would like to learn how to make my carrot and orange cupcakes, which I don't think I've ever actually made into a video, I have done for other people, but never for my own YouTube channel. So yes, if you would like to learn how to make my carrot and orange cupcakes, then stay tuned and I will include most of the demonstration, not the whole thing, because the whole thing was almost 40 minutes long, but yeah, the edited highlights of my demonstration, and then we'll come back together at the end.
I'll give you that much. Go crazy for Mr. Rob Baker-Gall.
There's a few more people here than yesterday.
I know, I hope you've made enough cupcakes.
I'm not sure. Hello everyone. First of all, before we begin, does anyone have any objection to being filmed today? We're filming this one for my YouTube channel. Is anyone called in sick to work and shouldn't be here? No, good, excellent.
Excellent. We're getting away with that. That's fantastic. So, tell us about Mr. Baker's Cakes.
So, I'm actually a primary school teacher by day, and I've baked all my life, but I really got into cake decorating about 7 years ago, and it was a really good way to kind of give myself some downtime from the teaching, relax, take it easy, and then things kind of took off a little bit, and I got a bit of social media attention, and kind of 7 years later, we're here essentially. So yeah, I basically bake, cake decorate, make YouTube content, work with brands, work with magazines, occasionally a bit of TV, you name it really.
It's amazing. It's incredible to see you just soaring. Your YouTube channel is a great resource for anyone who's maybe getting a little bit stuck in the kitchen.
Yeah, I like to do the sort of content that I would have liked when I first started. So a lot of kind of very beginner-friendly cake decorating tutorials, a lot of kind of just fun with baking, and then a fair amount of silliness as well, because who doesn't have a silly side?
Tell us what you're making for us today, because they're hungry.
Today I am going to be making you one of my absolute favourite recipes, and it is for carrot and orange cupcakes. I originally designed this recipe for a wedding, so I wanted them to be like absolutely perfect, and I really think they've stood the test of time, so hopefully you'll really enjoy them as well.
Excellent. Okay, well, we'll let you get started. What's your first job?
My first job is going to be to combine all of the dry ingredients into the bowl of a stand mixer.
Okay.
You can do it in a bowl with a spoon. I do that. In fact, I've done it here a few times. I'm being lazy today.
Why not?
So
you worked hard enough.
I have. So I've got 100 grams of wholemeal self-raising flour. That's what's going to make them really healthy, because obviously Charlotte's already told you about all these amazing health food gurus we've got here this weekend.
Yes,
so
Rob's not one of them.
that's my nod to healthy. And then I've got 100 grams of regular white self-raising flour.
Okay.
That contains a little bit more gluten and things like that, which is going to hold everything together a bit better than just using the wholemeal on its own. I have got 175 grams of soft, light brown sugar. I think you're writing this down, by the way. And that's going to give us a really nice caramelly, kind of molassesy flavour, more so than normal white sugar.
Just in case anyone's worried that they are meant to be taking notes, we do have a recipe card which I would hold up, but I've just realised will blow away. So they will be here for you after.
We're also going to add in an extra raising agent, simply because where we're working with real fresh carrots, it's quite heavy, and so we need to give that self-raising flour a bit of a helping hand, a bit of an extra oomph. So we're going in with a teaspoon of bicarb. I put lids on these so they didn't blow away.
They're clever.
And then my absolute favourite ingredient in the entire world, which is 2 teaspoons of mixed spice.
Mixed spice. It is now officially mixed spice season.
It is,
and you can
season.
tell everybody why it is officially mixed spice season.
So I am obviously being a very modern social media YouTube baker, very much try and keep up with the trends. And so a couple of years ago, when pumpkin spice was first really blowing up, I was like, right, we need to do some pumpkin spice themed recipes. So I did a bit of research. I kind of spoke to some of my American friends to find out exactly what pumpkin spice seasoning is.
I'm imagining like the big board on the wall, you know, sort of lots of string.
And it's essentially a blend of different spices. Pretty much the same ones that are in mixed spice in this country. There's a couple of grams here and there, but essentially it's the same thing. So basically we've all gone absolutely nuts for coffee with a little bit of mixed spice mixed into the top. But on the upside, it means that any recipe I've got where I've used mixed spice, I can now call pumpkin spice, and people love it, so it's been great for me.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Because when you hear pumpkin spice, you think it's going to involve pumpkin in some way. But it's just the spice blend that Americans use in pumpkin pie. So no pumpkin in your PSL, it's just mixed spice in a milky coffee.
Although I will say,
Crazy.
if you go to my website, I have a recipe for pumpkin spice cupcakes, which do also contain real pumpkin.
Fabulous.
Again, health food guru.
You are.
And then we are also going to go in with the zest of one kind of medium to large orange. And this, if you don't already put orange in your favourite carrot cake recipe, I highly recommend you do, because it literally is just amazing.
It does need to be in there. Though I've got lazy over the years because I find zesting oranges so frustrating, I've switched to an extra. Don't do that, because I didn't say essence.
Even so, but I'm
not using a fake one. I'm using a posh one.
I feel that if you can use natural is always better. So don't get me wrong, I have gone all in on the vanilla extract in recent years, because obviously vanilla pots are essentially gold dust now. But
it's cheaper to put Chanel No. 5 in a recipe than vanilla pot.
It is. Liquid gold. Okay, so that is all of our dry ingredients completely and thoroughly combined. So now we're going to turn to the star of the show, which is our fresh carrot. And I will tell you now that this is, you know those ugly carrots you can buy at the supermarket where they say ugly but still good, or something like that? That's what I use, because they're grated, you can't tell, and you know, everyone deserves the chance to shine.
Oh, I get really over-attached to the ugly carrot. I have to buy the ugly carrot. Like, I think it might be sad.
There was even one of those two-pronged ones in this batch.
Oh.
But before I put it into the mix, there's one more step that I'm going to do first. And you may have noticed I've just poured it onto a tea towel. I used to do this using food-grade muslin, and then people used to mock me because who has food-grade muslin at home? But if you just grab an old tea towel, and it needs to be really old because otherwise it will release lint and things like that into the food, and then just give it a really good squeeze.
This one came from the Isle of Wight.
Did it? Well spotted. I just reached for the bottom of the pile. And we're squeezing out all of that excess carrot juice. The reason for that is if we put this into our cake mix, we're going to end up with a very wet and sloppy cake, which, you know, there's a time and a place for a wet and sloppy moist carrot cake. But again, when I designed this recipe for a wedding, and you're walking around with your glass of champagne in one hand and your cake in the other, you don't want a wet sloppy cake, so that's why.
It's shocking to see how much water comes out when you squeeze carrots.
It really is. And don't forget, of course, carrot juice is a big ingredient in lots of smoothies and juices, and I'm told, I've never made a juice in my life, but
we'll ask Eva later when she comes in. She can tell us about it.
But you can absolutely use that for something else if you want to. And then the last couple of ingredients are 150 ml of a neutral flavoured oil, so something like vegetable oil, sunflower oil, canola, not oil. Cannoli. We have cannoli over there, just to confuse you. That's what confuses me, because it's in my eyeline. And then 2 large eggs. Now, I wouldn't normally crack these straight into a bowl, but I'm going to today. Because then you can drop shell in, and there's a lot of like bitty little ingredients in there that I'd have to then search through.
That's fair. See, John's always really risky when he's up here because he cracks eggs into the mixer bowl while the mixer's mixing.
Can I have some of that stuff you said I could have if I got messy? She knows me so well. Now, I did used to crack my eggs straight into the bowl while the mixer was running until I was making something like 250 cupcakes for an event. And not only did I drop some shell, in my horror at dropping some shell, I instinctively let go of the eggshell to grab the rest, and then of course it just pulsed it all the way through the mix, and I had to start all over again, so that's why we don't do that normally.
You see the look of shock on my face? I've genuinely done the same thing. Yeah, it's a horrific moment. You watch it happening in slow motion.
I think I might have been actually filming that one as well.
Brilliant.
Didn't make the edit,
I was going to say, I'd love to see that in the outtakes.
That was back in the day when I thought everything on YouTube had to be polished, and then I did a series of videos where I tried to bake using an easy bake oven, and they didn't go very well. So now I've realised people actually enjoy when things go wrong a lot more. So I'm just mixing this, again using the stand mixer. You can do it by hand if you want, and all I'm doing is running it until I can see that all of those dry ingredients are fully incorporated with the wet ones. And then we can take this off. Can I just say, does that not look absolutely amazing already?
I do love carrot cake. It's your favourite, isn't it?
It really is. The only reason I'm demoing this whole tour, in fact, of Foodies, I've done it at every single location, is because it's my favourite cake to eat. Purely for selfish reasons.
I think that's absolutely fair.
There we go. So I've just whizzed around the bowl with that spatula, checking that I haven't missed any kind of little pockets of flour or anything. And it's looking fabulous. So the next stage, and this is normally really easy, but in the gale force winds we've got here, I might need some
you're going
help.
to need a helper for this.
So I have got a muffin tin, not a standard cupcake tin, it's just a little bit deeper, and that's because I also like to bake using muffin cases. As you can see, these are just from the supermarket. I've tried buying specialist ones from cake decorating retailers. They don't do anything different, so save your money, pop to Asda, nice rustic brown cupcake cases, and we're going to work as a team. Charlotte is going to pop in a case and I'm going to fill it straight away so it doesn't blow away. Beautiful
See?
job.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I've just realised I can't talk while I do this. So, I want you to tell everybody, I want you to tell everybody
Right.
about the world of competitive cake decorating.
Okay, well, the easiest way to get you started on that is, who's seen the TV show Extreme Cake Makers before? 3 people. Okay, it's not going to make life easier then.
Well, it's on in the daytime. This lot have all got jobs.
This is true. So basically there is a world of cake artists, as we call ourselves because we're incredibly pretentious, where we don't just make normal cakes, round cakes, stacked cakes, cupcakes. We like to make those cakes that are carved and structured and shaped to look like other things. And that's what got me into cake decorating actually. I never had any intention of making a round cake with a little model of a character sat on top. That doesn't interest me at all. But yeah, watching TV shows like Amazing Wedding Cakes and Ace of Cakes and things like that really got me into it. And then I entered a cake decorating competition in Hampshire, which is where I came from. And I won, and one of the judges was like, you should enter Cake International, which is the world's biggest cake decorating show.
It's a big deal.
Happens to be based here in the UK. And I did that, and I won a silver medal, my first attempt, and then I just kind of kept going, because obviously silver's not good enough. So eventually, after a few years, I got my gold. And then last show, which obviously would have been 2019, I finally got my best in class, which basically means of all the people that got gold, I was the best.
Can we get a round of applause, because that's actually a really big deal.
Thanks very much. Let's pop these in the oven.
Oh yes, let's make cakes.
In a preheated oven at 180 degrees or 160 fan, which is gas mark, I think 5 is what we've decided. Neither of us bake with gas, so we can never remember. And they go in there for around about 27 to 30 minutes. I usually do the 27, take them out, have a little listen, see if I can get them bubbling. If they're still bubbling, spin them around 3 more minutes.
Do you want to give them a couple of minutes, because we're there? We forgot to
You can be in charge of that.
It does happen. We were too busy trying to lick the bowl that Marianne had made that chocolate mousse in.
We really, really were.
So they go in, fan oven. I'll slide them in when no one notices.
Thanks very much. Now, to top these cupcakes, we're going to make an orange buttercream. Obviously, traditionally you use cream cheese with carrot cake, but again, cream cheese needs to be heat stable. It needs to be kept chilled. It's not heat stable. And again, if you've got a lovely display at a wedding, you can't have cream cheese sat out for however many hours.
It's not a good idea.
So, orange buttercream is what I came up with instead, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of prefer it. But again, I'll let you be the judge of that. So, to make this, it's really, really complicated. You need some butter, you need some icing sugar, and you need an orange. Again, hope you're taking notes. Now, I didn't take this out the fridge, because obviously, normally at Foodies it's so hot that everything melts in about 8 seconds, but this is still pretty solid, so we'll see how it goes.
Don't worry, the KitchenAid mixer will make light work of it.
So I'm a brand ambassador for Kenwood. And when we're at shows near my house, I bring my own mixers with me, but we're a little bit far away this time.
Turned up like a proper diva. You should have seen him rocked up, bringing his own mixer under his arm. How pretty mine is.
Mine's pink.
I had a pink one, but I gave it to my mum. She named it Penelope. It's pink and sparkling.
Bless you.
All I'm going to say is I love a Kenwood mixer. I have a Kenwood mixer, but I've never met anyone who's got a Kenwood tattooed on them.
I should do that.
Oh, I dare you. Official dare, you all heard it. Official dare, Kenwood tattoo. Butter in the
Butter's
bowl.
in there. We're going to leave that to cream for as long as we can because we want it to be really smooth, really pale and really light. And while that's doing that, I can tell you the story that Charlotte loves.
I love this story.
A few of my friends and I, we've done a few installations over the years, but at the last show in 2019, we decided, wouldn't it be lovely to do a Santa's Grotto where everything was made of cake and interacted in some way. So whether it was a cake that moved, whether it made noise, it lit up, something like that. That's what I mean by extreme cake decorating. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, of course, we need a Father Christmas that you can sit on his lap so that you can tell him what you want for Christmas. I never thought that they would approve the feature, so I was like, yeah, throwaway idea, everyone would think it's amazing, never have to make it. They approved it. So I had about 6 months to figure out how to make a life-size cake of a person that you could sit on without destroying it, which I did, with my dad's help.
With your dad's help.
My dad is an engineer and was very helpful with the structuring. But yes, a life-size cake that you could sit on.
It's just insane. That's a big part of extreme cake decorating, isn't it? Is the structure.
Absolutely.
Even more so than the bake and the decorating.
In my studio, so if you check me out on YouTube, which is Mr. Baker's Cakes, ding, I have a studio kitchen, and what you don't see is that all of the kitchen cupboards behind me aren't full of like baking tools and things like that. They're full of like a jigsaw and hammers and nails and screws, all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So extreme.
It's true.
And incidentally, for those of you who did watch the show, they did ask, and I said no.
Oh dear. So, creaming butter. This is all part of buttercream, getting it nice and light and fluffy. You like using Lurpak?
I do.
I think it's a really interesting point.
What I like about Lurpak is it's quite a pale butter, and then when you whip it at high speed, it goes really, really pale. I know it's a bit of a marmite of butters because it does have a very distinct flavour to it. I like that flavour. But
And you've used the salted one as well.
Slightly salted. It gives you the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I know you talked in your demo earlier about how it's important to include some salt in a recipe because it really brings out the other flavours.
Yeah.
And that's so true with any recipe you're making. But I find that slightly salted butter gives you the right balance, whereas if you go in with the salted butter, it's too much, if that makes sense. You can, of course, use unsalted butter and then salt it yourself, but again, lazy.
It's going to be really interesting when you try this buttercream, because I think actually when you do try it with that slightly salted butter, you realise it's so much less cloying. The sweetness is different. I don't think you'll go back after you try it.
Now, there is a change to this recipe today.
I know where that change is going to be.
I'm normally very strict on sifting icing sugar, and we have rows about it because I'm team sift, and
I'm lazy, but I've got a confession to make. I've actually started sifting my icing sugar.
That's my legacy. I can retire.
It is a game changer, Rob. Yeah.
Amazing. But if I sift my icing sugar today, you're going to be wearing it. So I'm going to be kind to you and throw it straight in. But I've bought the expensive stuff today. I normally work with supermarket own brands, but hopefully this should be slightly better. Close your eyes just in case. Now I normally also go in half and half as well, but not today.
Get this sort of dramatic cloud.
Anything I can do to reduce that is a good idea. I'm struggling again there. There we go.
You're okay, you're doing fine. There's your thing.
There's my thing.
I've got this for your hands, which you'll need.
And then, oh, it's going so well. I think it's when I think about it, I start to second guess it.
It's
You know
all
what
good.
doesn't do that? The Kenwood has slow start, so it doesn't just turn on, it builds up really slowly. Just saying. Thank you. And then while that is combining, I am going to prepare my last ingredient, which is my orange zest.
Okay.
And I'm going to share with you one of the best bits of cake kits you will ever buy. These are, I think, about $1.99, $2.99 from Wilkinson's. And when you are zesting something like an orange, they're quite soft. And so if you use something swanky like a microplane, which of course we all have because we're all pro chefs, they're absolutely fantastic for things like lemons and limes. But because the orange is slightly softer, it takes an age, doesn't it?
Which is why I was just over zesting oranges.
But this, well, I'll just show you.
It's a game changer.
It really is.
Another game changer from Mr. Baker's Cakes.
So that's pretty much a rush job, but
That's
just
amazing.
from that orange, you get all of that off, which
That's
you wouldn't get with a microplane. Now, I also have another tip for your buttercream. Lots of people, the internet tells me, seem to think that the longer you beat your buttercream and at higher speed, the smoother your buttercream will be. And I constantly see posts on social media from people saying, why is my buttercream gritty? And everyone commenting and saying, you need to beat it for longer at high speed and that will sort it out. If your buttercream is gritty, it means that your sugar hasn't dissolved into the tiny amount of liquid that is in the butter. So what you need to do is give it time to do that. And so my top tip for making buttercream is to do this part as soon as you put your cakes in the oven. And as soon as that icing sugar is combined, turn your mixer off, pop a piece of cling film over the top and walk away. And then when your cakes are out the oven and have cooled down, so 3-4 hours later, give your buttercream a final mix and you will find that it is perfectly smooth, no grittiness, and you haven't had to stand over a mixer running for half an hour or whatever it is people say.
So it does need time, but it's not time and effort. It's just you need to leave it and walk away.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
Although I will say, of course, we don't have time for me to leave mine for 4 hours now. So if my buttercream is a little bit gritty, you'll have to.
No judgment. No judgment, Rob. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
See, that's a powerful mixer.
And then what you'll see as well is not only does that orange zest give this buttercream a really delicious flavour, which is wafting up at me right now, but also it goes a really nice kind of orangey yellow colour as well, and it is absolutely yum. If you find it a little bit thick and you're worried it will be too hard to pipe, what you can do is add a tablespoon or two of orange juice. And I'm going to say this because since doing this recipe at Foodies, I have been tagged by people that have had a go at making this recipe. And you see them lay out their ingredients, and amongst them there's always a bottle of orange juice. We already have an orange, so I'm literally just going to chop this in half, scratch your worktop,
Yeah, thanks for that.
and then literally just about a tablespoon. Lid back down one more time. Take that out first. Lid back down one more time, and then we will be good to go.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
It's all right. It's all right. So while this sort of finishes off, tell us a little bit about the Kenwood Kids Club.
Oh yes. So, as I mentioned earlier on, I am a primary school teacher. I'm going to pretend that I just baked these, by the way. And there you go. And when we went into the first lockdown and they closed the schools, my school wasn't closed, I was there every day. But closed the schools. Obviously, we had about half of our children in school and half were at home. And so I thought, when we were coming up with ways to keep our children busy with kind of more extracurricular stuff, that I would do some baking videos for them on my YouTube channel. So for about 15 weeks, that's all the content I did. And they got really popular and people noticed, had a bit of press coverage and things like that. And then Kenwood got in touch and said, we have been trying to think of a way to get children excited about baking and encourage the next generation. We love what you've been doing, we'd like to work with you on it. And so we've literally just celebrated our first year anniversary.
Oh, happy birthday!
Producing weekly live cooking and baking videos for children, and they can join. We have a full website. And when they join up, they get a membership card, and then if they bake along with the weekly YouTube videos, they can share the results over on the website, which is all kind of, you know, designed with children in mind. It's very safe for them to be on. And we choose a monthly star baker who wins a Kenwood Kids Club goodie bag and a Kenwood hand mixer as well. So if you have any children who are passionate about, and it's not just baking, it is food as well. I didn't used to be a chef. Get them involved with that, or if you really want a new Kenwood mixer, force your children to get involved with that. And who knows?
That's amazing. Where can we get the details and sign up?
So that is at kenwoodkidsclub.co.uk, and the YouTube channel is Kenwood Kids Club. But all of that is linked on my website, which is mrbakerscakes.co.uk. Okay, so when your cupcakes come out of the oven, you want to leave them to cool in the tin literally just until they are cool enough to touch, so 5-10 minutes, and then take them out and transfer them onto a cooling rack. That's because as they cool, they'll release steam, and if you leave them in the tin, that steam gets trapped, and that's when you get your peeling cases happening. So take them out, put them on your cooling rack, and then leave them to cool down completely. You want that satisfying crunch. You don't want powder.
Yeah, the whole point is for it to be texture, isn't it?
Absolutely. So. And in fact, sometimes if I'm doing these in a rush, I'll just put a couple of whole pecans on the top.
There you go. It's nice that you can personalise and you can pick what you want to put on the top.
Absolutely. And again, because this is a buttercream, not a cream cheese frosting, these are perfect for decorating as well. So if you wanted to do like little sugar paste or ready to roll icing discs with decorations on, that would work as well. So.
Fantastic. Do you have that kind of thing on your YouTube channel? Sort of little things we can do to decorate?
Everything on my YouTube channel. And if I don't, just send me a message on social media and I can create it. I love when people ask for content ideas because it means I don't have to think of them myself.
Oh, I like that. It works well. These look incredible.
Now, do I have to share them? Is that the deal?
I think that would be very nice. I mean, they're sitting here looking ravenous. Actually, they've all started looking, that hungry look in their eyes.
I sometimes take these into the staff room at school if I've been on a bit of a baking mission, and apparently they're great for breakfast as well, what I'm told. Anyway, I'm going to start faffing. And that is my carrot and orange cupcakes with a fresh orange buttercream and pecan topping.
Rob Baker's Law, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to invite you to come up and try some of these. We're going to cut them so they go further. Rob has very kindly put the recipe on a lovely recipe card for you, haven't you?
I did. I didn't actually put any of my contact information on there though, because I'm organised like that. So if you fancy a go at the recipe, everything you need is there. But if you would like to find out more or find more recipes, just Google Mr. Baker's Cakes, and I'm everywhere.
You're on all the
Every
social
media platform, YouTube, my own website, of course, blog, you name it.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming and cooking for us. Come on up, try a piece of cake, and take away a recipe card one more time for Rob Baker Gall of Mr. Baker's Cake.
I'm letting you do it.
And there you go, guys. That was essentially my day at Foodies Festival today. Now, usually I would hang around at the festival, take in the rest of the demonstrations, and then usually join the rest of the bakers and chefs over at the live music stage to watch the kind of the headline act to round off the day. But of course today I had to race back to the hotel so that I could get this video edited. But I do hope that you did enjoy this kind of little behind the scenes sneak peek at what goes on when you demonstrate at a food festival. Of course, if you do have any questions about anything that you saw, whether it's to do with my recipe or any of the other bakers and chefs that you saw demonstrating or flashes of demonstrating, then do head down to the comments and ask away, and I will happily come and answer them for you. And of course, if you did enjoy this week's video, which was obviously very different compared to my recent content, then do give it a big thumbs up. If it's your first time watching a video here on my channel, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button before you go today. And if you'd like to receive a push notification every time I upload a new video, you can also hit the bell icon as well. Now, I will of course be back at the same time next week, Sunday at 10 with a brand new video. But until then, as always, stay safe, take care, and happy baking. Bye everyone.